Inside the Fox 59 CBS 4 podcast studio, welcome to the Colts Blue Zone Podcast. I'm Dave Griffiths. Thanks for joining us, and joining me, Matt Adams, Mike Chappell. We are 1 week into Colts training camp. The twists, the turns, the ups and downs. Already experienced a couple of them here up in Westfield. But Chap, you've been to all the practices out there. I've been to a couple of them myself. The one thing that it has been every day is hot. And if there's a second thing it's been every day, it's been humid. And
it always amazes me how we stand on the sidelines and we sweat and drink and they ask us for more water. These guys are out there for like an hour and a half.
Yep.
And doing stuff. And I've noticed maybe two players need the cold towels on their necks and heads. So I think, of course, they're young. I mean,
yeah, they're also 22, 24,
right,
prime of their lives.
It's
We're old and washed up, Chap. All of us.
Some of us are older
and more washed up.
But no, it's amazing, and it's just a testament to the kind of athletes that pro teams deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I walked the dog the other day for 20 minutes because he wanted an extended walk. I about died.
Yep.
Like I had to wring out my shirt basically, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, that's just 20 minutes leisurely stroll with your dog. These guys are out there in pads, crushing each other out there for an hour or two
minimum.
And that is just a lot to think of.
I've got a black lab. You would think that he'd want to stay inside because he's black and whatever a dog does, not sweat but pant. But he enjoys being outside and lays down in the sun and just bakes it in for a couple minutes. Likes his long walk still. So I was like, morning for the walks. It's not going to be in the afternoon. It's just not going to happen.
His boss.
Yes, exactly. He is. His name is Chase, for Chase Utley, by the way.
Very nice.
My guy. But anyway, plenty of topics to get to here on the Colts Blue Zone podcast. We'll talk quarterbacks. We'll talk wide receivers. We'll talk some players returning from injury. We'll talk some injuries that have happened so far out there at training camp. But we begin with the news of the week here in Indianapolis, and that is Bernhard Raimann signing his contract extension with the Colts 4 more years here in central Indiana for Raimann at left tackle for a reported $100 million, with, as Chap loves to say, the one number that truly matters, 60 million of those 100 guaranteed. Raimann was a third-round pick in the 2022 draft out of Central Michigan, grew up in Austria out in Europe, and migrated here to the United States when the other football didn't go as far as this football would take him. And Chap, what a mammoth step for the Colts to get their left tackle of the future signed to a deal that puts Raimann among the top paid left tackles or tackles in general in the NFL.
Yeah, we talked, and this was going to get done. Again, they've got probably 6 or 8 players, significant players, in the final year. Alec Pierce and Quiddy Pay and Daniel Jones, Nick Cross, Braden Smith, who we'll talk about later. And I really believe still that ownership wants to wait and see how this season goes before they sink a lot of money into certain players that maybe the next group doesn't want if this season doesn't go well. Bernhard Raimann was going to be here. I mean, we can argue whether Alec Pierce is the flavor that another coach wants or whatever. You need a left tackle. And this is he'll be 28, I think, in September, still developing. He first played tackle as a sophomore or a junior at Central Michigan. So, yeah, and he's getting better. It is funny. One question that did not come up when we talked to him, whatever day it was his first start in Denver. So maybe we're past, that first start was pretty nasty.
Right.
And it was.
It was the definition of nasty.
I can't think of a more awful NFL debut to where they left you out there the whole game.
Yep.
This would be like a pitcher where he gets shelled in the first inning and they say, just stay out there.
Yep.
Just stay out
We're going to try to see if you can go 6.
So, and good for him. And it's funny because he was on a local radio show a few days before and gave the impression that they weren't close. But go back, and Jake Query is really good at interviewing, but he sort of led him where he wanted to go. Like, what do you think? Well, they're not really close, but he was going to get done. I didn't know if it would get done before the season. but good for him. One thing I noticed, he's tied for the per season average of $25 million is tied for 6th among tackles. I think there's 8 tackles that make $20 million.
Make around that, yeah.
And I believe 7 of them were first round picks.
Yep.
And 6 of them were top 13 picks.
Yep.
So we've always said, quarterbacks are hard to get. Left tackles are hard to get too. So you lock him up. You hope you've got your next Tariq Glenn or Anthony Costanzo, because that's one spot you've got to have.
Yeah, I've got the full list here that you tweeted out just the other day. You can follow Mike Chappell on Twitter at mchappell51. You can follow me at DaveG_sports. Matt is at Statamatty. But the list of now tackles that make $25 million per year or more on average, it starts with Johnson, Lane Johnson at $25 million. Who was the 4th overall pick to the Eagles a while back. He's a right tackle, too, so he's up there at right tackle. Williams, we got Trent Williams, 49ers, $27.5 million, was a 4th overall
He's
pick.
only about 50.
Yes, Penei Sewell of Detroit, number 7 overall. He makes $28 million a year. There's Rashawn Slater, 13th overall. Slater is at $28.5 million, which
he just got his.
Yes, tied for the most, along with Tristan Wirfs, who's a number 13 overall pick, $28.5 million. Laramie Tunsil, a 13th overall pick at $25 million. Are you sensing a pattern here?
I know.
Uh-huh. And then the only other guy here is Christian Darrisaw, who the Colts could have taken instead of Kwity Paye. Yes, and he's at 23. He's at $26 million.
Right.
Is Darrisaw. And now comes in the lone 3rd round pick. Third round. We talked about this at the time when the Colts were looking for a left tackle here on this podcast. Like, it happens in the 1st round. You don't get 3rd round left tackles that are at the top of the game, that make the most money in the league. Bernhard Raimann has defined the odds, and you credit him. You credit the Colts offensive line staff, and especially currently Sperano Jr., Tony Sperano Jr., with what he's done with him the past 2 years in particular. I'm not going to completely discount the previous administration, as much as many Colts fans would like to, I'm sure, with getting a good start to his NFL career. But over the last year, Raimann took a significant step forward, enough for him to earn this contract.
Is he the best? Is he Chris Ballard's best draft pick?
It's hard to argue anyone else. Like, you could say Zaire Franklin is a Pro Bowler and was a 7th round pick.
But he's a middle linebacker.
But he is a good draft pick.
I understand. I'm serious.
Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd round, since he's an All Pro, but he's a 2nd rounder, way up there.
And I'm sort of dismissing Quentin Nelson because he was 6.
Right.
I mean,
and he's just a guard, right, chap? A guard at 6th overall.
He's just a
My goodness.
They've now got one of the highest paid left guards and one of the highest paid left tackles.
So you better run left, is what you're saying.
So,
and if you don't gain 4 yards, then
I think it's maybe the only one that I would argue that's better is Shaq Leonard.
That was the only one that popped to mind for me.
Yes, the injuries, but boy, he was good.
Mostly because of the impact that he did
have.
It was shorter than it wanted to be for the Colts, obviously.
But that's it. Good for Bernie, and those of us who've sort of been here. It's not like he's been here forever, but we've seen the growth, and he's just such a good guy, which is totally incidental with all this, but. They just don't hand out $60 million contracts guaranteed. It's really interesting because this year they've given Cam Bynum $60 million. I can't remember his guaranteed, probably 30 or 40. And then Mooney Ward, a $60 million contract. So they've spent, and they gave Daniel Jones $14 million.
Yep.
So it's good for. It's just good. We've seen what happens when you don't have a left tackle, and you just can't play offense.
No.
Efficiently.
And that's why no matter who the head coach is, and no matter who is under center next year, no matter all the ancillary stuff, which quarterback is certainly not ancillary in the NFL, but
it's good to know
got that done, finished. And the Colts have their left tackle for the immediate, if not the distant future. Because like you said, he's 28. And at left tackle, like if you take care of your body right, you can play till you're 38. That Jason Peters was playing well into his late 30s. 35 is fair, but you can go further if you're at the top of your game. And
like you said, Trent Williams is
he's getting up there too. I mean, he's like my age, for crying out loud. It's crazy how old these guys are. Actually, I know I'm older than all of them.
I don't want you playing left tackle.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be good at left tackle in Pee Wee out there. I don't think that there would still be kids that would be able to push me around, probably, to be perfectly honest. So the one thing you don't want at training camp is injuries. And finally, after a couple days out there, one injury bug really has bit the Colts. And the way I think about what it is you have depth at one position, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Like the usual suspects, like Kevin Spacey. It's gone all of a sudden. You think you have a good cornerback depth, and then all of a sudden, Juju Brents has a hamstring. Jalen Jones goes down with a hamstring and has to be carted off the practice field. Didn't know the severity, according to Shane Steichen, and he's not going to tell us right after practice if you don't know, and you don't know right after practice. And then we're off today.
Right. I checked last night or last evening, and it was going to be checked on later, so we don't know. And maybe we'll know tomorrow night. Don't give us an idea tomorrow night.
Yep.
But I was watching the play. He was running. I don't remember who the receiver was, but they're running down the left side, and he just pulls up and grabs the back of his leg, and you just thought hamstring.
Oh shoot! Yep.
But whenever they bring the card out, it's just not, and he couldn't put any weight on it, which it might have been the shock of the injury and all that. So we'll see. He's in that. When has he started? Is it 27 games in 2 years?
Yeah, out of 34, 27 out of 34, I think.
All 17 last year, and he's in a fight this year with Justin Wally and Juju. Guys. And so Juju is a strange one. We talked to Juju, whatever these days run together. We talked to Juju one day, and the next day he doesn't practice because of a hamstring. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pile on, but Juju needs to be out there.
Yeah, he can't have these knickknacks injuries here or there. And
hopefully it was just, whenever these guys feel something, a groin or a hamstring or an ankle, they err on the side of, we'll give him the day off. Kenny Moore missed a practice the other day because he had soreness in a knee. Well, then he's back out there when they're in pads. So we'll see. Juju, it just would not bode well if he misses a week, 2 weeks. No. And I have no idea if that's what it's going to be. But you're right. It's sometimes when you've got strength at a position, it only takes one or two injuries, not necessarily serious ones, to really cut into that depth. I
also want to, hesitate saying, strength at the position is a unique term for cornerbacks too, at least for my opinion with this group. You got Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward on one side. You got Kenny Moore, who I think are both very strong players. Right. The third position is definitely up in the air because we're talking about a third-round rookie who's in the mix here at the end of the day, who's had a good camp so far, but A.D. Mitchell had a good camp last year too, and we all know how that panned out. So, you look at it and you say, I think the cornerbacks for the Colts is a group of relative strength right now because when you look at them all together.
That's four.
Yes.
And then Justin Wally, he's your fifth by body, and then Juju Brents is your sixth. So
that's better than a lot of teams across the NFL.
Better than it's been here.
In a very long time. Yes.
So, but no, it can change in a hurry. But I hope it's only I hope they say it's day to day instead of week to week. Week to week can mean
6 weeks. I mean, that can mean pup.
It could mean you can't put him on pup.
Right, not right now. No.
Once you practice, you can't pup.
Right.
I can't remember the IR rules, which that would be
it is. Yeah, that's right. That's the difference now. Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Hopefully, I got the impression it wasn't significant. But we'll see.
Here's another part about the cart that you mentioned. If a player is going to get taken all the way back to headquarters anyway, you put him on the cart. There's no sense in him walking to the sideline and then getting on the cart and going back.
When you've got a leg injury.
Exactly. So if you're gonna be like, he has to go back and get evaluated there, whether it's a serious hamstring injury, which I'm not saying it is, or whether it's a more minor hamstring injury, you're going to put him on the cart right there on the field. Does it look good? No.
I think that's part of it. Players don't like to be taken up on the cart.
Right. And I think that's part of it.
There is an image thing.
Right.
For the player.
Right. So yeah, I think there's a little both ways to it. Michael Pittman Jr. also left practice with a groin injury, so that's something that we'll certainly have to watch.
Pretty good day until then, and it's hard. You really don't notice a guy didn't finish until Shane Steichen tells you that guys didn't finish.
Right. Other injuries. Let's see here. Cam McGrone, linebacker out of Lawrence Central. Woohoo! Quad injury for him. Salvan Ahmed with a back injury at running back. David Long Jr., cornerback, has a groin. So another cornerback again with this time a groin injury.
Groins and hamstrings.
No,
Man.
I know the soft tissue stuff is annoying, but you're always going to get a couple of them at training camp, and hopefully they're not overly serious. And these, like Chap said, it could be more of a day-to-day thing than a week-to-week thing. And Zaire Franklin is yet to practice, which we're like
Syracuse.
Philly. That's right. Both 1 and 2. See, I didn't have to say it, but I think you mentioned before camp started, Chap, that it was kind of weird that he wasn't on PUP to start practice, and I kind of quipped, but maybe kind of serious, that Chris Ballard just didn't want to do the paperwork, and I think that
I don't know what the downside.
Yeah,
was.
There's something to that, or something to say that like they like the linebackers they have, so they don't want to muddy the situation by bringing in someone else, and if they're not going to use linebackers as much as the previous group did anyway, then why? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it. They give the impression he's closer, and he looks fine out there running, and he's throwing on the sideline. So you don't know. It's not even remotely ideal.
Right.
With one of your starters has now missed the first 6 practices. I don't care. You can say, well, you started X number of games and he's better. That's not. This is a new defense. And practice. You have practice for a reason.
We're talking about practice.
I know. So it's not good. And maybe I can get a chance to ask Chris Ballard or somebody is what was the downside to PUP? Because Chris said he didn't think it was going to be very long. And what does that mean?
It's been 6 days
aren't
now,
we
7
past
days.
the not very long stage?
Right.
But on the plus side, Jalen Carlisle has been out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which helps. And again, it does give other guys chance to get reps, which is important.
Mm-hmm.
But Zaire Franklin is a captain, and he's got to be a starter for you.
Reps are great, but you need your starters in there with a new defense to get used to the situations around there.
That's why they practice,
for sure. And that's the whole point of this whole thing. The Colts did sign defensive tackle Josh Tupou, replaced offensive lineman Jack Wilson, who's now on injured reserve. Wilson was a mammoth of a man. He was a Washington State former player at Washington State, played basketball at 4 different schools. 6'11", yes.
Just huge, man.
Yes. Like I remember going out day one and just looking at the offensive line and seeing him and Jaden Travis next to each other. The draft pick out of Oregon State.
I think so.
From? Yeah. And I was like, dude, those guys are big right there. You put those guys on both
power
sides
forwards on the off-season basketball team.
On the all getting off the bus team.
Right.
You put him there with some of the Colts tight ends, like the Drew Ogletrees, the Jelani Woodses.
And DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, the Colts, like we've said that before. The Colts are the all off the bus team or first team all pros, but we need some playoff appearances in there.
So I just want to double check on Iowa State. For
Thank you. Appreciate that. Iowa State. I was wrong. Not
Oklahoma State didn't sit right in my mind.
Yeah.
And I
thank you.
To double check.
Iowa State. My apologies to Cyclone Nation out there. Practice time tomorrow on Thursday as we tape this podcast on Wednesday. The first ever night practice.
And I hope last ever.
And Chap hopes last ever out at Grand Park.
8 o'clock is stupid.
Chap's not having any of it out there. 8 o'clock.
That means I'm going to get home about midnight, and it's all about me.
Yes, exactly.
And a few other writers are bitching about it, too.
I'm sure they are. It's an 8 p.m. start time out at Grand Park in Westfield. Tickets for this Thirsty Thursday are $5 for fans.
By Bud Light, by
That's
the
right.
way,
presented
and
by.
And there will be fireworks.
Yeah, there will be fireworks.
And they're bringing lights in.
They're bringing lights so everybody can see. Yeah. I mean, at the end of practice by 10 o'clock, it's definitely going to be a little dark out there. So
tell me that Shane Steichen was an 8 o'clock practice.
I would guess the answer to that question is no.
Probably no. Yeah.
But the fans
they want to get ready for that primetime game they got during the season.
See, exactly. You gotta practice how you play, and it's going to be like 8 p.m. If you want more primetime games, Chap, you got to have primetime practice.
No, then we don't want more primetime games.
Forget it. 1 p.m. every week, right? That'd be ideal. But that $5, by the way, goes to USA Football if you're going to head out there. So a good cause.
Good cause.
That donation kind of goes to. But again, tickets online at Colts.com. You can find them there and get ready to go out there before you get out there, because I'm sure it's going to be busy. I'm sure it's going to be active. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there with the one night practice that there is. So practice is Thursday night. And first preseason games a week away. We're already there, Chad. Like, they're going to be playing pretty darn soon. It's crazy how how fast these first couple weeks practice.
But then it all goes so fast.
It does.
You're in that 7-day cycle. But God, they just go quickly. Before you know, we're going to be talking about their 3-1 start or whatever.
That's optimistic. We're going to put that down right here. Chap says 3-1.
But
it's not impossible.
No, but they go quickly. But it's kind of cool to see how the team grows or doesn't grow in what areas and all this. So, but it does go quickly.
Let's check in on the quarterback situation. The quarterbacks, by most measures, when the pads came on Monday, Monday and Tuesday had some of their best days of camp out there so far. It's probably not a coincidence that those were 2 days that I was not out there to cover. So I am
So you need to stay
jinx.
away.
As per usual, Dave brings the bad juju instead of the good juju. Not juju.
You bring the injured juju.
Exactly. Yeah, right. But anyway, your thoughts on the quarterback situation, Shap? Because certainly when I was out there at the start of camp last week, like it seemed like neither one of them was doing that well. I might give the edge to one over the other, but over the past couple days, how do you think they've done since they've been doing it in front of your eyes out there?
Yeah, the first week it was uneven for both, and all we really have is the eye test and the numbers. The first 4 practices last week, Jones was 25 of 43. That's about 58%. Richardson was 19 of 43, and it looked like it, which is like 44%. He didn't even hit the Richardson line from last year.
Yeah, in camp. Wind's controlled.
In the past 2 days, they've just been on. Richardson is 15 for 20, and that includes going 0 for 3 on the last session. And Jones is 11 for 15. And in 7-on-7, when doggone it, you got to complete 80%. You just should. They're both 8 for 9. But if you look past the numbers, they've been sharp. They've been decisive. When we talked to Richardson yesterday, I think it was, he kind of broke down what he did in the offseason and working on his base and keeping his feet further apart. He thought when his feet were closer together, maybe the ball sailed. And then we talked to Jim Bob Cooter. He said, follow the feet. He said, it's all about the feet. And so hopefully this is a good sign. I didn't want to get too down after the first week, although it was kind of hard not to. Very encouraging. Again, Thursday night in pads, you want to see the quarterbacks just play the position.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Richardson's a starter. I thought he had to come out and not play well. Extended not play well. We've not seen that as without getting too deep, because we can do this another time. But there's so many reasons that he needs to be the guy on the, barring injuries in camp. He needs to be the game 1 starter and see where it goes, either good or bad. If it's good, you've got direction. I guess if it's bad,
if it's bad,
if it's got it's just in different directions.
Not good direction.
Yeah. So and again, listening to what Carly Ursay Gordon said, I get the names
right.
What she said and what Chris Ballard said is they're not giving up on him at all. They think he still can be everything they thought he's going to be. But the only way you do that, we've heard this for 2 years, is to play him.
Mm-hmm. Got to play, and he's got to be able to play.
Right. In his, I've always said that with the 2 quarterbacks, it's with Richardson, it's all about ceiling. I mean, this guy's got a chance to do stuff if he can stay healthy. And I think with Jones, it's what's his floor, and is the floor high enough to get you there? I think if he plays like he did in whatever it was, 21 or 22 when the Giants made the playoffs, that's good enough. Richardson can just do more. But we're 2 weeks in, not quite 2 full weeks in, so we'll see. And Shane Steichen's still not giving us any indication. We need to ask him tomorrow night if he knows. I'm sure he knows if he will share what the playing time is going to be in the first preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play him a half at a time? Is that fair if you start Richardson with the 1s and then you put Jones out there in the second half with the 2s and the 3s? So they've got a plan just like they've had for camp, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah, we might have to wait until they're on the field until we get the exact playing time. But as it is, if it's a true competition, which by all intents and purposes it appears to be, you need both guys to get reps with the first team
Right,
offense.
which they've done.
Yes.
It's
I mean,
been
in
50
preseason games too,
yes,
specifically.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they need to be out there, and the first team offense needs to be out there for probably an extended time than you would usually see a first team
It's
offense.
a new offensive line.
It is.
They need to play together.
Right. And so you're going to see a little bit from both of them for sure. I would imagine you see a bit from both of them in both games, or the first two preseason games. Third, I would say that's on the shelf for now. Like I'm not putting it past them to try to name a starter by then and to work with the starting unit at that point. But the first two games, at least, we're going to see.
I
both
argued
of them
with Kevin
team.
Bowen about this. Kevin's a really good guy with the radio and all this, but I said ideally they need to know after two preseason games who the guy is. And then I wouldn't play that guy in the third, maybe a series.
You can make that argument.
Come
I think
out,
that's fine.
You know,
it's going to be Richardson. It's going to be Jones. And then if you want, you can play the backup guy in that third game. I would make that Riley Leonard and
Leonard and Jason Bean.
And Jason Bean. I don't. I think it wouldn't be a good thing at all to go into that third preseason game saying we just need to see a little bit more. That would not be a good thing, and I would err on the side of not wanting my perhaps starter to get banged up or hurt
at that point
in the third game.
Right.
I do think you worry about that. So after two games, I think they should have enough information.
You worry about throughout all of the preseason, but especially in those late preseason games, about if your starter's in there facing players who are literally playing for their NFL lives.
And if your starter's in there, okay, is Bernhard Raimann and Braden Smith.
Right.
The offensive line's going to be in there, aren't they?
Right. You would think so. You don't want to put, no disrespect to the third unit, but you don't want to put Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones behind them to start off the game.
No.
And to try to protect them in that way. So
it's ideally no after two games. And again, I would not play the guy in the third game, but I don't think.
So it should be two handoffs, a pass on third down, and a punt. And that's about
which we've seen a lot of times.
Which we have seen a lot in that last preseason game.
And then 50 handoffs with the backup guys to get the game over in like two hours and 50 minutes.
That'd be great. I think, Chap, if I'm reading you correctly, if the Colts stay on this, if the quarterbacks stay on this train that they're on right now, this pattern, and they're about the same, the edge goes to Anthony Richardson. We've said that on this podcast before. Yep. I think the most interesting, which would be unique possible outcome, would be in practice for this to stay the same, for them to both be relatively sharp and very much similar in practice, but for Daniel Jones in the first two preseason games to look significantly better, like driving down the field, scoring touchdowns, whereas Anthony Richardson has 3 and out, 6 and out, whatever, and just in these games doesn't get anything.
Don't the
going
games
with the
need
offense.
More?
Exactly, and that's my point. Like, I think that would provide a very challenging decision for Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard and anybody else who has a say on who that starting quarterback is. If in the games Jones looks significantly better, whereas in practices we're seeing what we're seeing now, and that would be, I think that would be bad. I think at the end of the day for them to have to make that decision and to because if they make it. If they try to stick with Richardson at that point and say his body of work throughout all of camp has been comparable, like you can try to do that for sure. But if they go with Jones, it's like, well, that's the knife. Stick the knife in him. Stick the fork in him. He's done. On the other side of the coin,
it would be awkward to go with Jones, which again, Chris Ballard said it's who gives us the best chance to win,
right?
Because that's what this is about. It would be awkward to have Richardson, who they need to be the guy moving forward, on the bench to start the season. People are, the first bad game or whatever from Jones, people are clamoring for it. So we'll see. But your point's very well taken. I think maybe the way Jones plays, he might be more efficient in a preseason game. I don't know.
Right.
But the thing is, again, with Richardson, it's about availability, yes. But it's about accuracy and moving the chains and give you the big plays. And like a half of a game maybe is not conducive to Richardson doing that because because he's got the highs and the lows. But no, that's a really interesting point, and I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I bring it up thinking that it could happen.
Sure,
but
it could.
Yeah, we'll see, and we'll probably get into more of the game strategy and details, all that in the future here on our air. But for now, we have plenty of other stuff to talk.
We'll find out next week.
Exactly. Yeah, yes, indeed, we will. You're watching the Colts Blue Zone Podcast on Fox 59 now. So let's shift gears back to the offensive line. We already talked about the left tackle, Braden Smith, earning his keep for the next 4 years here in Central Indiana. The right tackle, Braden Smith, is did I say Braden Smith twice?
You said, yeah.
As soon as I said his name, I was like, wait a minute. I mean, Bernhard Raimann.
Braden said what? I did what?
Bernie got the contract.
Bernhard Raimann on the left side, getting his deal. Braden Smith on the right side is another story, as he is coming back after missing a good portion of last year after what he described as a mental collapse brought on by a form of obsessive-compulsive disorder. If you haven't read Joel A. Erickson's story in the Indy Star about this yet, I strongly encourage you to do so, because Joel was the first one to get this story. Braden has gone into a little bit of detail with us, certainly not the same in-depth that he went into with Joel and sitting down face-to-face or over the phone, whatever.
With his wife, no.
With his wife, yeah, I thought they sat down. That's what I thought that they did, yeah. So Braden's gone into great detail about what he was going to, but he's back, and he said, like, you asked him how's he doing right now, and he called himself in a spectacular place.
That was Bob Kravitz's question.
I thought it was your voice. Excuse me.
But
the other curmudgeon here in the Colts media.
But we all had good shots at Braden, and he was that was as expansive as he's been on anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's been one of the more introverted.
He's typically
Colts.
more buttoned up,
because, and maybe that was part of the stuff that he was dealing with.
Possibly,
he was very open about it. He talked about it and answered all the questions. Didn't say, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about that." And from a football side, they're getting back a right tackle who's played pretty darn well.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a few injuries. The left knee bothered him the last couple of years that he had work on prior to the last season. But he's that guy that's right there at a Pro Bowl level, just right there. But the story is he's got himself together mentally and emotionally, and he's in a good place.
So Smith went to a facility in Colorado, eventually traveled out of the country to Mexico for treatment, and is back now, like you said, in a good place and in a whole lot more control than he was at this point last year. So the Colts have their right tackle who, like, I'm thinking, Chap, about last year or maybe the year before, talking about some games against the Steelers, and TJ Watt always lines up on that side, on like the right side of the offensive line, on the left side of the defensive line.
Right.
And how important it was to have Braden Smith for a game like that. And TJ Watt didn't do anything in that game.
He hit one of those, maybe one tackle,
right,
or one assist.
Yeah, no quarterback pressures.
No pressures.
Yeah.
And
that's what Braden Smith's ceiling is shutting down TJ Watt.
And you can do it one-on-one normally without a lot of help,
right,
which is what you want. And he's just this big guy,
mm-hmm,
and he's a mauler, but he's got good athleticism. And it can't be, forgotten that he's in the final year of his contract.
That's important.
It is. He's he's 30, I think. I haven't got it in front of me. Maybe Mr. Matt can look it up. But
yeah, he came out the same year that Shaq Leonard, I think, did. That same 2018 class.
Quentin.
Yep.
Quentin was in 18.
Yep.
So
another pretty good pick from Chris Ballard.
Right, was Naheem Hines in that draft?
I believe Hines was in that draft as a
there was another player too. That was a really good draft.
Turned 29 in March.
Turned 29 in March.
Now whether you can afford
to keep pouring money into your offensive line, we've talked about this before.
Well, at one point they did. At one point they had the highest paid line in the league.
Yeah,
with Kelly and
Braden and Quentin.
Right.
Was Costanzo still on the team? No, I don't think that. He'd left by the time they were paying all those other guys.
So and again, Howard Mudd told me a long time ago that you can find guards. With all due respect to Quentin Nelson, please don't. But tackles.
So he's going to bust through the door right now.
Welcome to the Colts Blue Zone Podcast, Quentin Nelson. Hey,
because early on with Peyton Manning, he had Tariq Glenn and Adam Meadows, two quality tackles. So really interesting. If Braden can stay healthy, physically healthy, I'm saying, with the injuries and play well, he's going to give them a very difficult decision to make now because they drafted Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure with an eye on him being the right tackle of the future.
If Braden Smith didn't pan out, right?
Correct.
But yeah, an eye on that for sure.
So I don't know. Maybe they do with Braden what they did with Costanzo, where they went a 2-year deal, and then we'll see. And it ended up being maybe a 1-year because then Costanzo retired.
Right.
But it's just hard to find good tackles. We complain, well, they don't have a good swing tackle. Well, they're hard to find.
Right. The starters are hard to find.
Let's go down to Tackles R Us and find us a good backup tackle.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't work that way. But the overriding thing is he's back. He looked good. He sounded good. So all positives for Braden Smith, and you just hope like heck that he's got control of this.
Thrilled for him. Thrilled for his family, his wife, and
Courtney and his little boy Wyatt. I think it is.
Yeah, his wife was a softball player.
No, Wyatt is. Well, I'm sorry, Wyatt might be Bernie's.
Dadgummit chap.
I know it. I'm getting my people mixed up.
I love Braden Smith stories that he was during the national anthem or something like that at his wife's softball game is when he got the call that he was drafted.
We had after the draft.
Yeah, by the coach. He's like, I didn't take the call. Or
she Texas A&M, I think, and he was all. Yeah, it was a great interview from the game. Great stuff.
Yeah. One person in our sports department has a story of seeing him somewhere and shouting in jest "Roll Tide" at him. And at first he turns around angry, then he realizes that it's a joke, and that was cool after that. But they take their college football seriously.
Yes,
in his parts. War Eagle is what you should shout if you don't know Braden Smith very well. If you happen to see him out there somewhere, and then congratulate him on coming back and give him keep giving him some encouragement there, because the Colts are going to need a right tackle this year for sure, and it's going to be him at least at the start. Tyler Warren, first round pick. Had somewhat of a slow start to his camp, but then I think has really turned it on in more recent days. And really, after just the first couple days, really.
They thought that'd be the case when the pads came on.
Yeah,
that his style was conducive to pads.
And would you say that's the case since you've seen these past couple days of pads? Yeah,
he's played well. A drop or two, maybe. They were red zone, I think, yesterday, and there was one play. The first play in red zone, low red zone, was like the 3-yard line. They tried that shovel pass inside.
The old shovel pass,
and it didn't work. But I thought it was more of a timing where it got congested inside. But he's been. I mean, if we have 7 concerns in training camp right now, he isn't one of them.
Right. Which is great to say.
Which is a great thing to say.
That you have a tight end that you're not concerned about. And so, I'm really eager to see him in games that matter. Just to see how they're going to use him. I doubt they fully open the playbook in the preseason for him. He'll be probably more along the lines of a standard use. Or heck, Shane Steichen just says, heck with it, and throws him back there, and he's throwing passes off a tight end pitch. And then
I want to see him in the red zone with a handful of plays and see if they –
yeah.
Because when they were doing the red zone, there was a play or two where he was also lined up in the backfield. He has
taken handoffs out.
I was going to say I read that he took handoffs with he was the only non-running back to take some handoffs.
So that's what you do. You just
work on the timing. You
may use it 3 times all year, but if they're in the right spots, that's what you do.
Yep.
So and they asked Jim Bob Cooter about him yesterday, and he basically said, he's versatile. We're going to try a bunch of things with him. We're going to take a bunch of shots with him. So you can certainly, obviously he was a first round pick and all that, but the Colts are going to try to get the most out of Tyler Warren.
Yeah, nothing concerning at all from the first round pick from what we've seen out there. Now it's just along the lines of seeing him in game action and seeing how he performs to being under the lights that way, or under the lights in Westfield in Mike Chappell's favorite time of day for training camp practice.
He's still, there's still some things he'll need to adjust to. The speed of the game,
right.
He still can make contested catches, but those windows closing up considerably faster than they did in college.
Right.
And then some of the finer points of the blocking game and stuff. He's a skilled blocker, but it's different at this level. You're asked to sometimes do some different things than you may have to do in the college game. And it sounds like this is a guy that's got the capacity and the ability to do all of those things.
They had a play again where I think it was 11 on 11, and he kind of slides out to the right, and Richardson, I think it was, threw the ball a little behind him. And without stopping or changing his stride, he reaches back with his left hand and grabs it, and then just keeps on heading upfield.
Nice.
And two stats to keep in mind: 39 and 467.
Got those imprinted in your
Oh,
head.
it's on my save get. That was the total of the tight ends production last year. So if he gives you 50 catches, 600 yards, 700 yards, that's what I'm not Brock Bowers. No, let's not go there. But to have a guy who can make a difference, and we've seen Wally Cox make some plays, and the guy that I've noticed a lot this year so far is Will Mallory. Has played well. So they need 3 or 4 guys. Boy, they need Tyler Warren to be what they think he can be.
And they drafted him 14th overall with
reason.
the purpose of making him that.
Right.
They're going to give him every opportunity.
And it wasn't a
do
reach.
So.
It wasn't like we had him down at 25.
No.
That's where they had him.
Sure. When you score double-digit 15, 17, whatever it was, touchdowns at Penn State.
And when he has more catches and yards against USC than any Colt tight end had for the season
Still one of the craziest stats there is.
Oh, I know. 17 for 244, 224.
Yeah, long there.
Gosh, insane. So looking forward to seeing him, see if he can develop into maybe a type of player that Alec Pierce is, making an impact last year for sure. In a contract year, but doesn't sound like there's too much movement right now, as he gave some answers when he was in front of the media recently about his contract, and like that it set off, I don't know if a firestorm is the right word, but some people are like, oh, Alec Pierce isn't coming back. Oh, listen to what he said. I don't think that was the case at all from what he said.
No.
Like Alec Pierce is not wasn't saying he's not coming back to Indy at all, but he was saying that he's going to play out this year. He was saying he's going to see where that leaves him, which every player in his position specifically should at wide receiver.
Seen what wide receivers are making?
Numbers are going up.
And I tweeted out the other day that I don't know who just signed. Was it
Cortland Sutton recently?
4 years. Was it 80 million? It was like 21 or 22 million, 23 a year. And I said, Alec Pierce is going to be so interesting what his market's going to be. Because he gives you that deep threat. 22-3 a catch last year, which led the league.
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting to see what that commands on the open market. How do the Colts approach it? I don't know. You're paying Michael Pittman decent money, not great money. Good money.
You signed him at the right time.
Oh, boy, didn't they? Because then it exploded.
2 weeks later, all of a sudden,
it exploded. But you see these guys are getting 20, 22 mil, and that sounds like where Pierce should be. But can you imagine if he gets on the market and the Buffalo Bills say, hey, we could use that guy, or Patrick Mahomes. It only takes one team.
Yep.
Someone with the Colts told me that he's going to. They said both Bernie and he are going to get paid.
Yeah.
Bernie got it.
Yeah, he already got it.
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of financial market there is for Pierce, and it will be huge.
I mean, you say it takes one team, but if there's 2 teams, that's even better. If there's 3 teams, then hello.
And that's why it will behoove the Colts. Let's say they have a good year and everybody's back. It will behoove the Colts to get this done before free agency, which if there's a guy that you really want, that's what you do.
For sure. And that's what they've done in the past. They've gone and got those guys done and going into the last year of the contracts, which is good. That's a reason why they did Pitt. They did Shaq Leonard at a time. They did Quentin Nelson at that time. They did Braden Smith at that time.
Hines,
and that's why Jonathan Taylor was so upset when he was going into his training camp.
What about me?
What about me? Like, we haven't got this done at the time. Like, what the heck's going on? So you get that. From his
and
vantage
it's understandable
point at the time, like that we don't want to dig all that up. We don't need to dig all that up. But that's just kind of a peek into the past and about what's going into this Alec Pierce decision right now, because they don't want to do it now. But in year 3, Pierce kind of had at least a half a breakout season, if not more than half a breakout season, with what he was able to accomplish, and that's just another reason not to give up.
He's gotten better every year.
Yep. Another reason not to give up on A.D. Mitchell just yet after 1 year,
God, I wish he was having a better camp.
I know, right? I do too. I wish he was having a slightly better camp.
Maybe it'll be the inverse, though, because he had a great camp last year.
Maybe, that's thinking.
Maybe.
Then he has a great season after he has a ho-hum camp.
And what's interesting about this group, let's say, I mean, of course, guys are going to get dinged up, but let's say everybody stays healthy. And they're sort of pigeonholed. I know they like to be versatile and all this, but everybody sort of has a role.
Yep.
In that. So how do you expand Alec Pierce's game? Although we've seen a lot of underneath stuff with him so far, which is encouraging, and he's making catches. But how do you get significant? That's not even significant. Several reps with Brady Mitchell. Who you can take off the field,
Right.
So that's why he's had, I don't know, 3 or 4 drops, which is concerning, considering he's not had a ton of reps
Mm-hmm.
in 11 on 11.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is just he's going through a rough patch because he's not had a really good camp.
And that's a tough place for a young receiver to be. Like, you're going in, you're filling in where you
Right.
can here. Because, like, Michael Pittman Jr. has his role.
That's what I'm saying.
Alec Pierce has his role. Josh Downs has his role. And if any of them need a breather, well, A.D. Mitchell should slide in
Right.
there. And
So-
you're asking them
which
to do
means
all three of those
Which means
jobs.
he's got to know everything.
Right. Yeah. So that's not easy. And I'm not saying that it should be. And I'm not saying that it completely exonerates any issues. But I am saying that it is not easy. And it would behoove
He's
people
got
to
so
to know
much
that.
talent.
He does a ton of talent. Man.
He's the most talented receiver they've got.
Samson Ebukam is taking reps with the starting defense in 11 on 11 work as the team is continuing to monitor his workload coming back from his Achilles tear from nearly a year ago. Ebukam believes he's getting back his explosiveness, which is the one thing that Achilles tendon injuries take away from you. And it's super important for a guy like a defensive end who's about exploding off the line of scrimmage, getting to the quarterback or getting around an offensive tackle before they have time to explode backwards in their stance. Really interesting to see what Ebukam can do. And he's worked certainly hard to get back into football shape and thinks he's going to be good to go for the season. Chap, he could add a significant, if he is back to what he was before, can add something significant to that Colts defensive line.
He said his plan is to be better than he was.
That would be exceptional.
Which, better than 9.5 sacks.
Well, let's get double digits. Let's go.
And again, maybe it won't be the sheer numbers because I would think that they will. I don't say anything about a pitch count, but really monitor his workload certainly early on in the season. But my goodness, you got Quiddy, you've got Latu, and him, and then JT.
Tuimoloau.
I
knew you were getting there.
I think we need
to
to sort of have that lead in.
And then,
and that's a good group. It's just a good group. I hope one of them, Latu, really elevates his game. We were talking to Latu a couple times, and his goal is a sack a game. And
17 would be exceptional.
I'd take 12. I'd take 12 and 17 if he's not missing 5 games. But he just said last year that he thought there were so many near misses.
There were so many near misses. He's right.
And don't you think that as a rookie, those near misses are because maybe you were a half a step slow because you were thinking and not reacting, and now maybe this year you finished the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do something on him for probably tomorrow, and I'm going to compare his regular season stats to Jared Verse's regular season stats, and they were almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
Almost identical. And Verse was
he jumped forward in the postseason. Yeah, the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was the rookie of the year was based on regular season. He was defensive rookie of the year, right?
Yes,
He sure was.
So it's not like Latu had a bad year. He didn't. But he looks good. He looks fast. He's going to excel on speed and quickness and all that stuff. We'll see about the power moves, but they need to hit on these guys because again, Quiddy pays another guy contract year.
Yep.
And you sort of draft these guys with the idea, well, if Quiddy's only good, then we can't pay him whatever. Edge rushers are just off the charts.
Yeah. You saw what Dio got last year.
Right. So big year, but I like the group. I get the impression this is going to be a pressure by committee, just because I don't see that lead dog out there like that. I hope somebody does emerge, but I like the group, but we'll see.
I got the feeling. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say it would be great if it was Latu. And when Lou Anarumo talks about Latu,
right,
he's just over the moon about like his physical ability and everything that just jumps off the tape. And it is just taking that
right
and being able to translate it to the NFL game. And like I said, so close so many times last year. Maybe with Anarumo there, a little bit different of a scheme. He'll have Tuimoloau on the other side. Sometimes with the other group, maybe that'll help him get over the hump a little bit.
That great bookends from out of the Big Ten. You got, of course, Ohio State's JT Tuimoloau and UCLA's
longtime Big Ten
yes, exactly.
contributor. UCLA,
yeah. But he was like, the funny thing is, like, I remember the ACC. I'm sorry, quick tangent. I promise, very quick tangent. Like when the ACC expanded to add bunches of teams in like the early 2000s, like and I started covering Florida State in the early 2010s. Like they were doing at ACC media days, like ACC legends. And they talked about guys like an Art Monk as an ACC legend. Like he played for Syracuse in the 80s, guy. He's not an ACC legend. Come on. What the heck?
Why did the Big Ten have its media day in Vegas?
Because it's Vegas.
I know, but does Vegas?
Because it's 45 minutes outside
did
of
Vegas
LA.
Join the?
It's got
Big Ten?
It's close enough to LA, and it's Vegas, chap. Vegas,
I
baby.
understand. I'd like to have been covered like IU, so I could go out there. I need my Vegas hit.
Had there been some talk of having Vegas host the championship game?
I'm sure there is.
Please.
They would love it.
Because you've got those West Coast teams, and it's a kind of a better midpoint for them, even though the rest of the conference is well over to the east.
Let's not do that.
A couple quick hitters to end our show here on the Blue Zone. At center, Danny Pinner, Tanner Bortolini, still been splitting first-team reps at center. I'd still think that Bortolini has the inside shot at that job right now, chap.
There's maybe. I've probably downplayed that competition more than I should. What they've done is not with Richardson and Jones. They're splitting in practice.
Right.
Well, what they're doing with the two guys here is Monday it's Bortolini, and Tuesday it's Pinner, and Wednesday it's so they want him to get a full practice, and you'll have action with both quarterbacks. This is probably a little bit more of a camp competition than I've
fully given it credit for.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Well, chirp, Danny Pinner.
And what they've done too is what they're trying to do is to sort of include Wesley French in there a little bit. To strengthen that cross training between guard and center.
Right.
Quentin's going to be there. It's funny. We've had the first practice. Second practice, they had 4 guys with Veterans Day off. Which what? I mean, what?
Yeah.
It is excessively hot outside.
Okay. I understand. Okay. But then they had they've had guys have rest days off. And I asked Shane Steichen, I said, who goes and tells Quentin he has the day off? He said, we almost have to order him to not practice because he's out there every day, every play. But I do think there is a competition at center.
Okay. We'll leave that out there. There's certainly competition at kicker as well. But Matt, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but it's pretty clear that Gonzalez is going to be there, right guard?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And how that changes. Again, with the lack of, in my mind, a viable swing tackle, if either Raimann or Smith get dinged up, I think they put Gonzalez.
He'll be the fill-in, and they'll kick somebody else into right.
Isn't it easier to? Well, you've got more proven depth inside than you do at tackle.
Unless Jalen Travis just wows you over the rest,
which
of
he hasn't
camp,
done.
Which exactly he's exactly.
And Blake Freeland, we'll see.
Okay. The kicking check, Spencer Schrader, Maddox Trujillo, are both battling for the kicking competition for the open job. Schrader, second year in the league, played for Indy a little bit last year. Trujillo, rookie out of Temple. They've both got a big leg. They brought in Maddox specifically. Chris Ballard said they wanted to bring in a young guy with a big leg to be kind of push Spencer for the job, and they've still been going back and forth between the two.
This is Spencer's job.
It is. You think so? Yes, and maybe more so than all the other competitions of camp. That
probably.
Yeah, that he's the not the shoe-in, but the first in line, then after that it's number 2, not 1 and 1A.
He's kicked 5 field goals in the NFL.
That's something to be said
about
about
a number of extra points.
Yes, those two. Can't forget the extra points. Yeah. Okay. But
I've always said, I believe this, the 2 positions I do not want open competition in camp is quarterback and field goal kicker.
And we've got declared open competitions in both.
If you want to see them both, head out to Westfield on Thursday night, 8 p.m.
8 o'clock.
Or after that for one of the other days in Colts training camp. You can find the schedule online.
And they're winding down quickly.
They are,
If you plan on going to camp,
find a date.
Your days are running out.
Find a date.
It is shocking how quickly it has flown by.
I've got my calendar. That we've had 6. We got 7 to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yep, that is it. And pretty soon the Packers will be here. It'll be a joint practice, and then
They're
wrapping
back.
up
They're
and-
back behind closed doors at West 56th Street.
So while you got the chance, head out there to Westfield and scope out training camp. This has been the Colts Blue Zone for Matt Adams, Mike Chappell. I'm Dave Griffiths. We appreciate you listening, watching, however you take us in, and we'll see you next week on the Colts Blue Zone Podcast.